Welcome back to another episode of Can't Take Your Call Right Now with me, Harry Monkhouse.
Me, Lauren Reeves.
We are Series 2, Episode 8 today. We're still talking about all things BDR careers, but it's the kind of final piece of the puzzle now. It's everything to do with promotions, how to get ready for them, and then actually get into the next role. Before we jump into that, Lauren, how's your week been going? Because, again, it sounds a little bit dramatic.
Oh gosh, it's been the last 2 weeks have just been expensive. I think expensive is the best way to summarize my 2 weeks. So I finally went on a holiday last week. And I hadn't been on holiday since the end of September. So I was really looking forward to it. And then get to the airport, going to check in the baggage. And they're like, sorry, babes, we can't let you on. And I was like, I don't know what you're talking about. What do you mean you can't let me on? And they were like,
Was this after you checked in and everything?
no, luckily
Okay.
not. Luckily it was checking in the bag. So that actually was like made it easier because then Cass could check in the bag on his boarding pass and everything. So luckily,
Also,
yeah, they caught it before that.
so you weren't pissed in Weatherspoons then at that point.
No, luckily not, which is good. I think if I was actually at the barrier, I think I would have had a breakdown. Luckily, solution orientated Lauren kicked in, but if I was at the barrier, I don't know what would have happened. Yeah, got to baggage and was going to check it in and they were like, sorry babe, we can't let you on. And I was like, I don't know what you're talking about, my passport hasn't expired. Because I checked. And I want to make that very clear, guys. I checked. I knew it wasn't expiring. It didn't expire until the end of September and you needed 3 months for Europe. So I was like, I've got loads of time. Turns out, I mean, I spoke about this on LinkedIn, but turns out it goes by issue date for Europe, not expiry date. And on the old Burgundy passports, you used to be able to renew your passport early and they used to give you the extra months.
Yeah.
So my passport had 10 years and 9 months on it. So my issue date was December 2015. So technically my issue expiry was December 25. So actually, according to Europe, my passport expired in December, which would all be well and good, except Ryanair let me on a flight in February.
Yes. Yeah.
And that's what was even more annoying. It's like,
Where did you go
if
in
they'd
Ryanair?
not... No, this was EasyJet. So
No, but where did you go in Feb?
Austria.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So that's what's so annoying about it. Because if they turn around to me in February and was like, sorry, you can't get on this plane, I'd have been like, God, that's really annoying. But I'd have lost 100 because it was such a cheap
Yeah.
holiday. But to turn around to me on my ski one, like that was the worst one. And that's what's so frustrating. If Ryanair did their job properly, then anyway. So yeah, I'm stood there, panicked, like, oh my God, what do we do? Casper's like, oh my God, like, I don't want to go on holiday without you. So I'm there. And you know when you take like 30 seconds to buffer? I was just silent for like 30 seconds. And I was like, what do I do? What do I do? What do I do? And I was like, right, HM, get His Majesty's Passport Office up. So got it up, booked an immediate emergency appointment for the Tuesday morning, which was in Wales. And then I sent him on his merry way. I was like, goodbye, enjoy skiing without me. See you in
Was he just
48
alone
hours.
or was it with a group?
No, it's just going to be us two.
Oh, wow.
So just on his own.
Wow. Bless him.
Yeah.
Bless him.
Yeah. So, because, you're in that moment of, does he stay with me and then we fly out together on Tuesday? But what's the point? We would have had to pay for 2 flights and he would have just been there with me and it just made no sense. He paid for the days as well. Like, let him go and enjoy the 2 days without me.
I would have
It's
done
not the end
that.
of the world.
I would have done that.
Yeah. What I will say is that I'm glad it happened to me and not him because he gets very anxious. And I think that if it was his passport that had mucked up, I would have had to have stayed and helped him with it. So I'm glad it was me that had it. But yeah, so I can say now with full authority that I go by my own advice. So when I tell my reps to focus on solutions, I can confidently sit here now and say, I do that as well. So you can all piss off and moan at me. So yeah, managed to get out there, but obviously it was a very expensive mistake. The fast track passport costs like £220.
Yeah, they're not cheap.
Then obviously I'm driving to Wales, so there's petrol and then an extra flight, and then I had an evening transfer now, so that was obviously very expensive. So I think all in all, I reckon I probably like wasted like £800 on this.
Yes.
And I think it's one of those things where it was a mistake. I did do my best to like avoid that error. I don't know what I don't know at the end of the day. Like, I didn't know about that law.
Mm-hmm.
But, God, it's so frustrating. And then I'm moving this week.
Just to add
So
it.
just to add, like the cherry on the cake. Obviously, there's all the silly things you forget about, like a toilet brush, a bin, all the stupid stuff that like you're like, God, I need all of that.
But
So you just drop in £5 all the time.
every time I move house, and luckily I've not had to move in a while now, I pack up the boxes and I'm like, there's no fucking way I have this much stuff. Like, I remember when
I know.
me and Char moved, and I'm like pulling Char, like, I'm like, you've got so many clothes. I had more boxes of clothes that I just didn't know existed, because I almost had like 3 bags under the bed that had
Yeah.
never gone into the wardrobe because I
You
hadn't.
just forgot about.
Yeah, that's just
Classic. It's so
oh,
classic.
it's just like oh
I know. So yeah, I've got the day off today. So today is my dad's coming up to help us fix some of the wear and tear. Got to get that deposit back.
yes.
So like the fridge doors dropped slightly, so he's going to redo the screws and like that sort of thing. So we can eliminate as much wear and tear as possible. Cheers, Dave. And then Mum's also going to be bringing the carpet cleaner. So we'll be out cleaning the carpet. Lovely.
They're golden.
Yeah, I think what's been good is that I've every evening after work gone and done a load of moving. So
Yeah, been busy.
actually in the flat now, it's not too bad. It's just all clothes, final few bits. So yeah, I think everything will be over there probably today, definitely by tomorrow morning, and then it'll just be unpacking, and then one last final dinner in this flat tomorrow, and then that's it. We're in
Been
the
a big
new
couple of
place, which
weeks.
means, yeah, new background, everything. Oh my God, my little study is so cute. I can't wait. My
Well, I'm
background sound is
excited.
going to be so nice.
I'm excited to see it.
Yeah. So yeah, that's been my last 2 weeks. Thank God I work in tech sales, to say the least. That is one thing I have to say, is that I was stood there and I thought, God, how lucky am I to have the money to be able to pay for this? Like I could drop 220 quid on that passport. Like it was fine. Yes, I didn't want to spend it, but I had it. And I thought, God, like I'm so lucky that's the case. Whereas so many other people wouldn't have that money,
Well,
or they'd
yeah,
be relying on credit cards and things. So
or that is just their one
yeah,
holiday for the year.
yeah.
Very
So
fortunate. Very
did make
fortunate.
me, think, God, yeah, what a career, what a job. Must keep working hard.
So how'd you get promoted into those roles?
Yeah, let's talk about that. No, I rambled for 8 minutes, so give us a quick fire, Harry.
No, I'm all good. I just was meant to be in the Philippines leaving today, but unfortunately cancelled because of World War III. So I think right decision, but a bit frustrated that I'm not going to be in 35-degree heat playing golf on the weekend.
Yeah, that's pretty tough,
Instead, I'll be
actually.
in the rain playing golf. So yeah, all good.
Literally still playing golf, eh, mate?
Yeah, exactly. At least they're my clubs. So on the last episode, where we were speaking about like we had a bit of like 30, 60, 90, then we had kind of like a year plan and stuff like that, or some of like the components of how you create trust and stuff. Now we're thinking about, okay, how do we start feeding into getting these promotions? In my lens, right, there's a couple of different ways that you think about it. I think one of the big things is you've got to get your internal PR correctly done. Like, if you've never ever met the manager who's the team that you're potentially moving into, that just baffles my mind. But it happens more often than you think. So I think what you need to do is you need to be having one-to-ones with future bosses or their bosses, and just getting a little bit of mentorship. So again, a lot of the time,
100%.
by the way, even if the person isn't fucking helpful, have a meeting with them, right?
Yeah.
And
Because if you get them on your side, then when it comes to those conversations, like between you and another candidate, they're going to be like, oh, well, that like they went and seeked me out and actually put time in and like showed they were genuinely interested, asked me some really good questions. That is going to put you above other people that you're chatting to. Easy.
And it's even, look, people say like, don't be a brown nose and stuff like that. Honestly, it fucking works. Like
Yeah.
just
Also, there's
suck
just
up
like
to
a
people.
level.
Yeah. Just, of course, don't like literally go up and lick it, but do you know what I mean? Like just go
Yeah.
up, just like if I got some advice and again, I thought it was shit, but I was like, oh yeah, but the person really went out of their way to tell me that, or like they were really focused in the meeting, and I was like, I really appreciate the effort that they put in. Their advice was, I think, rubbish. And again, there's probably an egotistical thing when you're telling someone like who's been doing it like 50 years that they've been doing it wrong. Anyway, but even if it's that, it's like thank you for the meeting. I've gone away, done this. I've learned this. I've tried this. Here was the feedback. I love it when even my reps takes a one-to-one, some form of
Mhm.
coaching, and then whether they think it's helpful or not. But even if they didn't, they come back and they go, Harry, I tried this out. I did this. But if you can do that for the next manager, the easiest thing that you start to show is coachability.
Yeah,
And if you can show that,
100%.
a lot of the time people are like, I want him on my team because he listens, or I want her on my team because she
Yeah,
listens. And
yeah.
that is half the battle, half the time is the internal politics. And it isn't just the hiring manager and stuff like that. It's all of the senior leadership, because it tends to be that when we talk about promotions, again, it's a similar kind of conversation I'm having at the moment. It's not just my perspective, but we're getting perspectives of like other AEs, HR people,
Mhm.
marketing, the other senior leaders.
Yeah,
We've been getting people comment on them as a character based on how vocal they were at kickoff.
yeah,
Just like even that little moment where you had 10 minutes to talk in front of the whole room, like that has been spoken about. And
yeah. It
that,
makes
it
difference.
makes a huge difference.
Huge difference. I think as well, on that internal piece, you don't necessarily maybe want to be an AE either, right? I think the assumption is a majority of people do become AEs. They want to be AEs. That is the sort of average route taken from when you're being a BDR. However, if that isn't a route that you are 100% convinced on, you're still thinking, maybe I do want to do that, but I'm not. Go and speak to the hiring managers and the leaders in the other departments.
Mm-hmm.
Go and speak. So for example, like you'd come to me and you'd be like, hey, Lauren, obviously I'm interested in AE and I'm going to put time in with the sales manager so I can learn more about that role. However, I'm definitely not 100% going down that route. Could I please have some sessions or go and speak to the head of partnerships, the head of account management, the head of customer success, yourself, to understand these other routes that I could actually step into as well? The answer is always going to be yes.
Mm.
Like, of course you can. And then depending on your business's internal process, they might turn around and be like, yep, crack on, go put the time in yourself. Or it might be a case that your manager needs to go set those conversations up for you. But don't, one, assume you have to become an AE, because you don't. There is
But
other routes to take. But two, go and find out about them. Go and see what else is
yeah,
out there and understand what it takes to be in those roles and create a potential promotion path into those instead, if AE is not exactly what you're after. Because this role can go anywhere. It's
yeah.
so versatile and you learn so much in it that you really can step into sort of any part of the sales process,
Mm-hmm.
beginning and middle, and be able to fit in and do it because of the skills you've learned. So really important to keep that in mind as well.
Yeah, I think probably if we just talk about like why people go down the traditional AE route, right? A lot of people have got into this because of there's a lot of financial reason. It tends to be. I've not met many salespeople that don't like the money or are not doing it for the money, right? There are a couple, but it's not as common. So naturally, the progression is to move into AE because there's more earning potential. But if we just talk about through the other components, so you've got account management, basically an AE, but they just work on the customer side. Again, there are AE roles that also just work on the customer side. So again, it's dependent on the company. You've got customer success, which is supporting customers. Some CSM roles are commercial. Some of them are non-commercial, where they're just supporting customers. You've got solutions consultants or solution engineers, whatever you want to call them, who are supporting pre and post sales. Again, depending on what kind of company you work at. Some of them just support new business. Some of them support the customer side with the CSMs. You've got going into any role in marketing.
Yep.
Now, again, if I look at all of those roles so far, you've got kind of four that kind of are in sales, won't be in sales. Being honest, traditionally, people earlier on in their career in marketing earn less money than earlier on in their sales career, but that doesn't mean that there's a really successful career that you can have. I know some amazing marketing people that were
Yeah.
BDRs and they become even better marketing people because they've understand that sales lens. Um, you've then got going into BDR team lead or BDR manager, which again we see a very, very common route. I think that's a route that me and you have both gone down. My only differences here, me and Lauren speak about this a lot, right? Which is if you are as soon as you become a manager of any sort, you move away from becoming an IC really quickly, so an individual contributor. My advice that I've always been given was that as soon as you become a manager for a long period of time, it's way harder to get back into the lens of doing the activity during the day. So yes, you might want to be a BDR manager for a bit, but there is a point if you do want to go into AE or AE manager or something like that, that is an easier path to go down. Explore earlier on the AE routes, because if you went and did BDR management for 4 years, going back into now being an AE would probably be a big shock to the system, because you're having to do pipe gen and everything
Also
again.
very hard as well to do that, to find someone that will do that transition as well. Like typically, if you've been in a manager for longer than 2 to 3 years, people are less inclined to want to hire you as an AE because they think you're out of practice. Yes, you've been a manager, BDR manager, so you've been working on it, you know the system, but there is that sort of
Stigma.
Absolutely, that exists. Also, you know, on the opposite side of Harry, if you don't want to be an AE, don't be
Yeah,
one. I didn't want to be an AE. I had
100%.
no desire to do that role. I thought it looked awful. I still don't think it looks that attractive. Looks beyond like yes, I've got stress. I have a different type of stress though to what an AE stress is. It's a very different type. And I like this stress. I don't think I would enjoy AE stress. I think I'd find it really difficult.
It is hard.
It's hard. It's really hard. I mean, maybe I'm underselling myself in that sense, but I just have no desire right now. Although, side point, I did have a dream that I became an AE.
Oh,
So
well,
maybe my
recently.
subconscious,
It's telling
maybe
you.
my subconscious is telling me something.
I
It's
did.
like, are you sure you don't want to be an AE?
I did have a chat, and I was like, I wonder I wonder if this company approaches me, and I wonder if they offer me, like, what about if they offered me like a founding AE role? Like, would I take that? And I was like, I think if it was the right money, I think I could sell the shit out of that product. I was like, actually, I probably would consider. I've said I never want to go back to being an AE, but like, I think there's certain products that I would love to be an AE for, because they
Yeah, fair
really,
enough.
really suit my way of thinking.
Hmm.
But I think
But yeah,
overall, there are a huge amount of paths that you could go down. I mean, we've only just scratched the surface of things that you could go and do. By the way, there's loads of stuff that you can do to transition out of tech and out of SaaS, right? There's multiple different roles. You see people go into recruitment. Again, you probably see more recruitment go into sales, but um, there's loads of different career paths. I mean, we've seen people go from all ends of the spectrum into different
absolutely.
things. You've seen people that also progress really quickly. Now, I think just to pause on kind of the job role stuff, again, through your whole BDR career, you need to be assessing and having a very good rapport with your manager about what is going to be available at your current company. Because
Yeah,
again, we spoke about this a little bit in one of the previous episodes. At some companies, there just becomes a blocker, like whether that's because of senior leadership, whether that's because other teams just don't have moving parts, other teams aren't growing, and you get to a point where maybe you reach 2 years and there's just no role opportunities for you at all. It becomes really, really then demoralizing trying to find an AE role being a BDR, because a lot of companies will take someone with 6 months or a year's experience over someone that is net new, unless you are a top candidate. But a lot of the
yeah,
time, you might not even get the opportunity to display that you're a top candidate. So I would be assessing at every 6 months of your career as a BDR. Do you feel like this is the manager that I want to be, that can get me into the next role? Is the manager in the next team the person that I want to be working for? And
yeah,
have they shown a previous progression path consistently that I feel like, okay, if I become a top performer, that's me.
yeah. And I think that piece on, do I even want to work for whoever be my next manager is really important, because when you're interviewing for these internal roles, it's still an interview. You're still asking questions. You're still understanding what their coaching style is, how they manage, what they see. Just because you already work there doesn't mean that you can't be like, oh, I'm not sure if I'm keen on that. And yes, it is much harder to get a job externally promoted into AE,
Yeah.
but it's not impossible. I've seen it done many times.
Oh,
You
100%.
can do it. It's there. It will just take you longer and it will just be a little bit harder, basically. But I think sometimes in a way it's better to get promoted internally, stick it out for 6 months, get some experience under your belt, and if you really don't enjoy working under your new manager, then look to move into another role. But at least you've got the AE title at that point and you've started learning the foundations, or whatever role you go into.
And there's also, I think I've given both sets of advice. I've seen some people that I think are a little bit early on to be promoted, and I've said just run with it, because actually,
Yeah.
as soon as you've got 6 months on your title, like if I moved into an AE management role tomorrow, and I was shit at it, just having that 6 months is a game changer. Being like, oh, he's done it. Oh, why is he leaving? And then you can paint a narrative around like, yeah, the company shit. Like, there's no wonder I was wonder I didn't hit target. Like, none of the AEs were hitting target.
If you can pull good receipts, you'll be fine.
Yeah.
It's just if you bullshit, that you can smell that. But if you've actually got the evidence, then you're grand.
But to the point where me and you are both on a very similar boat of like, we don't tend to tell people not to rush it, because people tend to rush it. Like people get to the 1 year, 18-month mark and they're like, where's my promo? And it's like, actually, me and you advocate for at least 2 years in a BDR role, because you only have to do it once. The best BDRs tend to be really, really good AEs and good salespeople.
That's what's so funny about it, is that like, realistically, your lifespan as a BDR is going to be no more really on average than 2 years. Why are you why are you rushing? You know, especially if you went into sales so young.
Yeah.
If you're 21, post straight out of university, and you've entered a BDR role, that means that by 23/24, you could be an AE. So stop rushing, sit in the role, learn everything you can possibly learn. We said this in the previous episode, like, you're never done being a BDR. Like, the BDR doesn't go anywhere. Like, you have to keep it there. So become an expert in it, sit in it, really like take your time figuring out your strengths, where you lie, take that into your promotion conversations as well. Like, I've spent this amount of time really honing my ability to be an expert at this, makes you stand out better in an interview process as well. Like, don't rush it. You're fine.
Yeah. It's a great bit of advice. I look at, if I was to go back into an AE role, again, I can't remember when was I 23 or 24 as an AE, I think. And I just seemed, again, I look back and I'm like, I felt immature in the way that I was operating. Whereas now, again, it's only been like 18 months-ish, 2 years since I've been an AE, right? I already feel miles ahead. Like, if I was to go back into an AE, I'd be like, I reckon I'd be a top performer.
Yeah. I have to say, I think as I've got older, I'm like, the more I think about it, the more I'm like, I could be an AE.
Yeah.
I think 23, 24-year-old Lauren could not have been an AE, which is why I didn't want to be one. That is why I wanted to go into management. As I've got older, I have thought, because I think I'm much better at dealing with high stress situations. I'm far more logical in my approach.
But you also understand business.
Exactly. I get business now, which when you're young, you don't. I even think about me as a leader. I think about my first ever team. God bless those guys. Like, and I know that I came with so much love and passion, and that helps. But God, the leader I am today to who I was when I first became a manager is like, the difference is staggering, because I'm so much better at listening, understanding, thinking about things. I've now gone through pretty much every scenario you can go through as a manager. So I actually know how to approach situations now.
Yeah.
I've found my voice. I think I've really, really lent into speaking up, sharing feedback. By the way, sorry, another side note. Harry, you'd be so proud of me. I've taken on your approach to feedback after interviews.
Yay.
So literally now, when people go, can I like, they close me out, whatever, I go, are you open to hearing some honest feedback? And they'll go, yes. And then I've been
And how have they been receiving that?
Very well. They always receive it well. So I'm actually really proud of myself for the way I've been doing that.
Well done.
Thank you. See, look at it. This podcast is not just helping others, it's helping ourselves.
Well, we did build it so it could help us more so than anyone else.
That is a great point. But it's good to know that it has. And that's what I think so I guess the overarching message genuinely though is, when you feel like you're ready for promotion, you probably need another few months.
Yeah, 100%.
sit in the seat, enjoy it, really understand like where your strengths lie.
Hmm.
Don't be afraid to stay in a role for a little bit longer. I think that's something that I've really learned now over my career is that stop rushing. I think I was so keen to rush and be here by this age. And now I'm actually like, Lauren, pause,
Hmm.
like take in what you need to learn right now for where you are right now. What's meant for me will always end up getting there. And I'm literally a child. I
Yeah,
keep reminding myself of that. Like retirement age is 65. I've got a long time to go. So
good.
I think we're all
Yeah,
right. I haven't got a rush just
yeah.
yet. Um,
But
so yeah, sorry.
yeah, no,
Little
no,
tangent there, but
no,
there
no,
you go.
no. I think it's all totally fair points. It's great to hear the feedback is also working. The only thing sometimes I say around kind of going into BDR management before we move on to kind of like what are some other things that you can do. I feel like now, again, I don't know how you think about this. I have got an appetite for being in the room. So like
Yes.
I am privy to so many more conversations that happen within the business. And like they're the bits that excite me. So I like for me now
Yeah.
to go like if I was to go into an AE role or something like that, which again a lot of people could say like financially is probably quite a lateral move, right? There's some AEs that probably earn less. There's some AEs that probably definitely earn well. I know AEs for both more and less, but like probably the where I'd want to go back into would probably be quite lateral, maybe a little bit more. So but I think what I do see with people early on in their career is they get into BDR management. They've not done an AE role, and then
Hmm.
you get this privy mindset, or like you're in the room with certain conversations. It's difficult to sometimes get out of that for a long period of time
Completely agree.
because I couldn't think about. I love the
Oh my God.
conversations.
I'm so nosy. I love
Love
that I
a
get to know stuff. I love it. Oh, hey, Lauren, just to let you know, this is happening. We're going to tell everyone. Yeah, it's
yes,
happening. Yeah,
or even
I love it.
or even
I'm a
better.
nosy little girly. I love it.
Or
Tell me
even
everything.
or even better when you get like you get a live message, like you're speaking to like your boss and they're like, oh, sorry, I've just got to deal with this. This is happening. You're like, what?
Oh my God,
What?
what? No way,
What?
you're joking.
And then I get into the next
No,
meeting,
honestly.
have you heard?
It's so good. What a feeling. I love it when I get to text also the other managers and be like, oh my God, have you heard about this? And they're like, yes. And then like, ah, and you get to
Yeah.
like talk about it. And then you're like, oh, the team are going to hate that when they find out in a week. And it's like, oh, honestly, it really fuels me. It
Yeah.
really gets me
But
going. And I
but
just,
it's probably a taboo well, a bit, it feels a bit like that, but like people don't get the fact that like I see a lot of people in BDR management especially get promoted into roles just because they're the best in the team. And actually, I think for a lot
yes.
of the times, the companies have made a wrong decision in that because you lose a top performer and then you get a shit manager. So then you
Yeah.
get the worst combination. But then they get to stay in the role. It probably takes them a hell of a long time to figure stuff out.
Yeah.
Like I look at my kind of like first stint as a manager, right? Like I had no real idea what I was doing. Like I think I just became a good player coach kind of vibe.
Mm,
Whereas I feel like the only reason I could do the BDR management role a little bit quicker, again, this being my first kind of full management role, is just because I did consulting as BDR managers outside of this. So
yeah.
I built work for BDR managers to then go and execute
Yeah.
on. Otherwise, I'd be absolutely clueless. But there's things that you do become clueless on. But
Yeah. So yeah, I think just you know, if you're offered the opportunity to be a team lead because you're a top performer, actually don't be afraid to say no if management is not something you want to do
yeah,
because yes, you will just be
or
a really
or
poor
or
manager.
or just take the team lead and just make sure that you don't move into the manager role and try and get the
Yeah.
AE
Yes.
role.
Yeah. Yeah.
So what are some of the other things? So we've spoken about kind of internal PR. What else?
Knowing if you're actually ready. Obviously just spoke about
Yeah,
that.
well, let's
I
assume that they
think
are.
yeah, so then I think the next bit is okay, prepping for the interview. I think the most important thing, this is what I tell all my reps, is when you are interviewing for an internal role, your performance is not allowed to drop. I think that
Mm,
people think that when they are prepping for these internal promotions, they've got these extra training courses they're doing because typically in a lot of organizations, you'll do like an AE accelerator style course prior to an interview process to get you sort of like ramped up a little bit, understanding the role. People think that it's okay to take a little bit of a back seat in your current role. No, this is the time to really amplify what you're doing in your current
Yeah.
role whilst you're doing the interview process. You cannot get promoted if you do not hit your target. Like that is just not, those two things can't go together. Oh yeah, we're now going to promote Harry, who was a top performer, but actually they missed their target last month because they were doing the AE accelerator course, but we're going to promote him anyway. That just looks really poor. If there's you and somebody else who still hit their target and you didn't, they're going to promote that person. So really sit down with your manager and sort of go through your time management piece. Okay, how can I make sure that I spend my time wisely on my day job so that I still hit my targets and overachieve? However, I'm also putting the time and effort that I need into the accelerator course, the interview process, and not letting my attention drop off of that either. I think sit down and have that conversation. That's also going to be fed back to the hiring manager. For example, I would go to Angus, our sales manager, and I'd be like, by the way, really impressive. Harry sat down with me and said, look, I want to make sure I'm balancing my time really well, like putting the effort into the training, and I'm still smashing my goal. Can we please look at my calendar? I would go and tell him that and be like, that's really good signs to me that
Yeah.
they're really thinking about the strategic side of being an AE, the fact that like you have a lot of things to juggle when you're in that role. So that's my first big tip. Do not let one thing falter because of the other thing, because it will negatively impact you.
Yeah, I mean, to put it very simply, you want the win channels to be about you while you're going for the promo, because
Absolutely.
it comes back to the internal PR, but you want people talking about you in the room for the right reasons when
Yes.
you're not there. And it can be very simple as you're probably like a perfect size company where everyone kind of knows everyone, but in these bigger organizations, there are moments where like, again, I'm probably also in a similar boat to you from a size of company perspective, but there's companies I've worked at where your boss's boss has no fucking clue who you are unless you're on a wheelchair. Like, Lauren's doing really well. Harry, tell me about Lauren. Like, what's she like? Those are the moments.
Absolutely.
I can see that within certain conversations that I've had throughout my career where like people are asking questions like, tell me more about that. What are they doing? And then they're like, we've got a role coming up. And it's like, we should have Lauren be applying for that. And it's like, well, Lauren actually hasn't expressed interest yet. And we haven't told her about the role, but you're getting put forward for roles without even asking because you're at the top of the leaderboard. And it can sometimes just be the perfect storm.
Yeah.
So you always want to be up there. I'm definitely seeing it where if you definitely don't want to be that rep where the role comes available and they're like, oh, so this person was ready and primed for a promotion last year. How are they getting on now? And they're like, yeah, they've just fallen off a cliff. And then they're like, okay, why do we think that is? And then you're like, I don't know. And then it's like, okay, right. They're now not at the top of my list. We're going to have to think about a plan B here. Like very quickly, you get demoted to option 2.
Absolutely. Yeah. And then I think that comes with the second like top tip I'd give always is you have to treat it like every other interview process. Just because it's an internal interview process doesn't mean that it's going to be any easier for you or you've got more of a leg up. That's not how it works. They are not going to promote you if they do not think you are going to add revenue to their team. Simple as. There's no pity promotions. There's no, solidarity because you've been in the company for 2 years. That's not how it works. Get promoted to an AE. And if that is how you got your promotion, that's a red flag on the business.
Yeah, 100%.
Because you should not be getting promoted just
100%.
because of length of time in role. So I would then say you have to really go in and, prep your questions. Think about the kind of things you're going to answer. Put the effort in, the training, the coaching. The best thing you can do actually as well is lean on the other AEs in the business. Hey, can I please do a mock demo with you so that I can practice? And obviously you can then give me tips and feedback as someone that does it all the time. Hey, can I please do a mock discovery call with you? Like lean on your peers that are AEs, lean on your own AE if you're in a pairing or whatever, and really show that you're treating this process with the respect that it deserves. Because also you can see that. You can really see when somebody isn't putting the effort into the interview process because they kind of think they've just got it. So that's my big second tip.
Yeah, I totally agree with that. You should have realistically, if you're going into an AE role or any of those roles, find yourself a buddy and just become that person. And again, even if you're transitioning into CSM, marketing, or some other of the maybe less traditional stuff, like even with marketing, like go and build a campaign. Go and build a campaign you think would be sick. Like budget not permitted. Just go and build something. If you're a CSM, like go into an account, break it down, and figure out how you go and save one of River Red customers. If you're a solution consultant, get the demo environment, run demos.
Yeah. If you want to be a manager, ask your manager if you can run some of the training sessions.
Yeah.
Ask if you can be a buddy to more of the new starters and can you help train them up? Like, show that you've got that
Willingness.
wherewithal. Yes, and willingness, exactly, to actually go and do the job before you've got the job.
Yeah. And also, it's okay to ask these things and then not like it.
Yes.
Like that's the whole point. Like the BDR role, that's why we absolutely love it, is because you can do anything you like and figure out whether you want to go and do stuff here and make the mistakes in this role that in essence determine your future, right? It is your playground to figure out what is next. It is the university of sales or go to market. So use it as that stepping stone and then go and figure that out. I do think though, just to pause on this, there are moments, right? And Lauren, I think we probably both see this a lot. Not every single person in that BDR team is going to be someone that we want to promote. Like the
Absolutely.
sad reality is, like, you a lot of the time, if you try and hire an A player and maybe an A player isn't how it turned out. It might be a B player or a C player. But again, when we look at kind of structuring a team, you can't have, if I had a team of 10 people, I can't have every single person that is high potential, high performance. Otherwise, somehow the balance of the team doesn't work. Also, it then determines that the team is the wrong size. So then the team
Yeah.
grows, and then, like, there's other factors. But very rare do you see everyone top right hand corner of the quadrants. Like, you find your most average position is people that are in the middle, which is medium performance, medium potential. You want the people that get promoted are the people that either are high performers and medium potential, or high potential, medium performance. Like they tend to be the top triangles that get promoted. I think if your manager is not having those conversations with you about what's next in your career, I would probably say that would be a red flag for me around, like, I'm probably not going to be up for promotion here. I would have a very realistic conversation with your manager. And again, I think depending on how good your manager is, I think you should be able to get that realistic feedback. I've had people in my team where I'm like, look, you've been doing this for a good amount of time. I just think at the moment, the thing that I'm maybe struggling with is that I don't trust you to do all the things, or if you don't know something, I don't believe that your first instinct is to go and figure it out, solve it. I think your first instinct is to get someone else to solve it for you. And then you don't learn by doing that. So there's that type of feedback. And that can sometimes be a reality check of, like, where you're going to sit within the team. That can also help determine what you might need to do next. It might be that you need to go and find something new and to get that promotion, etc. But I do think sometimes with these promotion points, or when you think you're ready, it's good to have a pause and just think about, like, is my manager going to be telling me, or going to be putting my name up for these promotions? Because in reality, like, it's only a small percentage of people get promoted, depending on how fast paced your company is and how big the team is.
There's going to be turnover. There's going to be people that get rejected. It's just the reality, unfortunately. That is the harsh truth of BDR management. I think that it's very normal to have a team that, you'll see with good promotions, but it's not, and not everyone's getting promoted. It's just not possible.
We'll probably just finish on kind of like, if you look at, like, Chris Ritson talks about it a lot, like the people that get promoted quicker as BDRs, like, majority of them fail. So like he always talks about, like, do the extra time so that you have less likely chance of failing as an AE. Because if you have a likely chance of failing as an AE and you don't make it in your first 6 months, hard to find other roles. It just takes a long time to then build it back up. And then you've got to build your internal PR at a new company where you haven't really had maybe the right coaching. Just it's a set yourself up for success by getting really good and going above and beyond in your current role. And then the role will take, honestly, if you're smashing stuff, the role takes care of itself. You'll
Yeah.
automatically get promoted within
Yeah.
any career that you're in.
Yeah. And that's where it just pulls back to the point you always keep making, where you just have to be consistent. You have to show curiosity. You have to know you're not the finished product. So that just goes back to all the points you've made about what actually is a good rep. What do they actually look like? So be that, you will get the roles that you deserve, and you will get the promotions that you deserve, and it will come for you when it's needed. So
100%.
yeah, for sure.
So guys, this is the last episode of series 2. And actually,
Dun, dun, dun.
the last series of this. So we will be moving to a new format where we will just be doing
Yeah, we're actually just going to not do the podcast anymore. No, Jake.
news to me.
Good.
So Lauren's being replaced by a
Hey.
new guest. The AI, apparently, we've been doing some testing and it comes out with more knowledge,
Yeah,
better
far more
learnings.
concise, doesn't waffle as much. So I'm out,
Yeah.
basically.
So I'm looking forward to being on with a new host. No,
In your dreams.
I wish. So we are going to be moving to standard episodes. So we've got a new format going to be coming, and then it's a case of just joining us every week for a random topic that I think should be able to benefit you with something.
Yeah, so rather than just sticking to a series, outbound, career, etc., it will be a topic and episode that we both really want to speak about. And it'll all be the things that you expect. It will still be things like, BDR management, how to do LinkedIn, all of that stuff. We're going to be yapping about all of it, but it just won't be a whole series on it. We're now just going to go episodic, which should be good. I think it's going to be fun.
Yeah.
New format, new way of working. Up a little bit. It's been
Love
a
it.
quarter now.
I know.
It's been a whole quarter.
I know.
Time for a QBR.
Yeah. Oh my God. Maybe that could be the first episode. Maybe
That's what we'll do.
Maybe
We'll deep dive into our first quarter of what's our successes and our lows. We'll basically tell you guys what me and Harry had a chat about the other week. That's quite a nice idea, actually. But
cool.
No, it's been fun so far, Harry.
It's been great.
We've beat the average, I think. We've just got to stick to a year, and then I think we've beat most podcast averages.
We're doing an episode a week, so we haven't missed one yet. We're getting ahead of the game.
Absolutely.
Good
well,
stuff.
Pleasure as always, Mr. Monkhouse.
You too. Good luck with the move. I'll speak to you next week.
Yep. Speak to you later. Bye.
Bye.